Welcome to Cut Daisies and Unicorns, and it's a Trailer Friday, y'all. Trailer Friday, here we are, in this space, in this place, in this time. And so we're wishing you a happy Friday. Hopefully this Friday is going well for you. Do you know what this Friday? This Friday is the 5th. And it's Heather's birthday.
My dad's birthday's today.
Yeah, on the 5th?
No, today.
Like
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I'm playing
we're taping
future.
on.
Right.
Yeah. You got me in a time travel conundrum.
Yeah.
We're taping on August 3rd, and actually, in a heartfelt moment, I reached out to my fam and was like, "Hey, thinking about Dad, and stuff like that." And his passing of 26 years ago.
Wow.
Which didn't happen, but so the first week of August, celebratory, heartfelt feelings of happy birthday. Yeah, and as we are gentlemen,
we are gentlemen. Pinkies up.
we won't discuss a lady's age.
Right. Even though I do like to always, do that. But we'll do that in private. Yeah, so, Heather's birthday.
Because you're married to an older woman, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
She is older than me.
Well, as an influencer, she's led you down the path.
Yeah, so it's hopefully it's a good Friday for you so far. As we're coming towards the end of this Friday. Welcome.
Yeah. And hey, just want to let you know, really good episode. And that's our judgment. You might listen to it and it falls flat. But we have lots of fun in the beginning.
Yeah.
Heading into Greek mythology.
Right.
And the magicalness of Pegasus and unicorns. Right.
And hopefully you learn a lot by the Pegasus and unicorn. Because I learned about that there too. So
if you see a trend and the trend is your friend, I think what you're seeing us turn the corner on is we're kind of diving into some ancient I would call it an adventure.
Yeah.
An adventure into the ancients. Because in episode 5 we talked about the Stoics and the power of stillness. And you know what we didn't get into, actually, I was thinking about this morning on the drive in, Phil, was that I'd really like us to block off some time to have conversation about limitations, what are healthy ways to take in other people's wisdom and thoughts, and how does that not topple over someone's belief system? Or how can it be used in foundational blocks? And I think one of our good friends would be interested in this conversation on how do you have a personal faith system or things that you're endeared to when it comes to spirituality and spiritual life, or your commitment to the lack thereof. I mean, and I'm just putting that out there for everyone who may listen.
Sure.
But how can we take the wisdom that has been discovered and passed down, and in my mind where that linked to, and folks, this is not a teaser, we haven't talked about this yet.
No.
But how that was linked to, I think we could go to, in the sacred text, we could look at the life of Solomon in regards to one of the wisest man, at least self-declared there in regards to, that there's wisdom, there's nihilism boiled down. I think that's where Solomon came to.
Right.
We can do a flash into, not flash dance, but
no dancing on this podcast still.
But you gotta cut loose, foot loose. But in the words of Kevin Bacon on Footloose,
Mhm.
there's a time to laugh and there's a time to cry.
Mhm.
There's a time to mourn and there's a time to dance.
Right.
And so, but he was quoting Solomon in
Right.
regards to that. So I really would like us, since we'll have time to muse throughout the next week before we tape again,
We sure will.
I'd like to muse about how does a person discern to take in what other people have thought and bring it in and take the stuff that's valuable,
Mhm.
but how does it not how is that taken in and it doesn't disrupt a faith system or a personal belief system or a personal value sets? And so anyway, I just, because I know that we talk about a lot of things and people will
Yeah.
be like, oh my gosh, Coble, he follows Richard Rohr. Now he's going to go and research the Stoics and, and all this stuff. And I go back to the point where Martin Luther didn't have electricity.
Yeah.
Nor, like he was right in the age where they started like making the printing press. And so, but so under candlelight, the dude was well versed in languages and, had time on his hands.
Yeah, and I think it would be an important part to figure out, because you were asking, is it, you're worried about bringing something new in for the sake of a structure that's already present.
Well,
right?
or what you've been brought up in, or you've navigated, struggled with, and you say, hey, this is what I believe, but man, when you guys are talking about Stoics and stillness, again, my discernment and reading through Richard Rohr, I'm able to read it through the filters of my own system internally. And so, where someone who, might read Richard Rohr could head it in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And, when you start taking a look at science and the God particle, and all of a sudden people start freaking out saying science is trying to say that there is no God, but there's a particle holding everything together. Rohr would teach that God particle is the Christ.
Right.
Okay, so, but then people would be like, well, if I believe that, then how can I be, quote unquote, name your top flavor religion? How can I be Baptist? How can I be Lutheran? How can I be Catholic? How can I be, how can I be this, but yet, and hold in and, and then probably even the stance that we would take, people would be like, you're heretics.
Right.
Well, Luther was a heretic from the Catholic Church, and I really believe what the Lutheran Church has turned into would make Luther roll over in his grave. And so you're like, now you're accusing the faithful, and that's no. I'm just saying, let's take it in.
Let's
and
do that, though.
Quite frankly, you can say you believe anything you want to believe, but I'm a Missouri guy when it comes to that. It's a show me state, and that is if I have all this knowledge but don't act in any way, what is the knowledge? Shall I say that I believe that? I'm speaking in the old King's English.
That's true.
What shall I say then to thee?
Thus.
So anyway, I think, but to give you a heads up, like, where are you going? I think that there's some gems in the ancients.
I agree. Because you can even see how Stoicism, didn't. It probably came from somewhere, but you also see a lot of the major religions using a lot of the Stoic philosophy in it. So, you see Christianity that has some Stoicism that's attached. You see Buddhism that has Stoicism and stillness attached. You have Islam, Judaism. Some of these same core things, right, that have pieces that talk about stillness or talk about this, philosophy. Now, that's where you'd say, how does this work within the system of already?
But we
And
don't
if you're
do it that
saying
way.
and if you're saying things are clashing, then you're like, so what is it that really is the clash?
I think that there's some value in what we've tripped over worth exploring.
Yeah.
And so, hey, funny story. You brought up Judaism.
Yeah.
So this is not politically incorrect. But although, so yesterday afternoon I was at Home
You
Depot.
never know what's going to happen next. Never know what's going to happen.
So I was in Home Depot yesterday afternoon, and while I was there, or it could have been the evening before, there were 4 young Jewish men
Hmm.
that were in there.
Yeah.
And they had the little white leather straps coming down their
Tassels.
the tassels on the
Mhm.
side of their attached to their belts, I'm guessing. But uniformly dressed, black pants, white shirts, sport coat, black sport coat, and black hats.
Yarmulkes.
They
had the hats.
They had
Okay.
the
All right.
yarmulkes underneath.
Right.
2 of the gentlemen had their hats off while they were in the store.
Hmm.
The other 2 gentlemen kept wearing their hats. And the only thing I was wondering is, I wonder if one was raised with a family that said, when you go inside, you take off your hat. You leave on your yarmulke,
Right.
but you take off your hat. And I wonder if the other guy, or I wonder if it was a body temp thing. Now, see, this is Steve seeking to understand before being understood.
Sure.
But my understood moment was I wanted to walk up to him. And we crossed paths. They came around the corner. They were in the paint department, and they had a gallon of paint.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was white.
Hmm.
Just because all the buildings that are painted, if they're not natural brick, they're painted white.
Yeah.
But in a generalization of all that. But I wanted to reach out, and I'm like, hey, guys, where are you at in your schooling? Because I wanted to see what level, if they were studying, to become rabbis, where they were at. And second question, where do you get those hats? Those are freaking cool.
Is there a store that just carries these?
I wonder, like I've Googled before, where can I find a Jewish black hat?
Mhm.
And apparently hats don't have a religious background.
Oh.
I don't know.
That's
So-
what I was wondering, if they actually have
But it's a broader
manufacturer that
broader
has,
brim, and it's probably
Yeah.
wool, and it would make sense why when it's 84 degrees out, somebody takes off their hat. I figured it was a biological thing. Maybe a couple of guys, they run a little cool, and the other guys are like, I'm hot-headed, and I got this yarmulke.
So
I
did they
can't-
have the side like curls too? Or
No, see, I think happens
Mhm.
after the graduation part or in the progress of becoming a rabbi.
Yeah.
But the ringlets that come down from the sideburns,
Yeah.
which is Old Testament law for people who are wondering about it, so they did not. It was interesting. That it was 5 o'clock shadow, but it was after 5 o'clock.
There you
And
go.
so, I mean, I'm sure, and there's laws of purity, and there's laws of caretaking, and what defiles and what doesn't defile, and all that stuff.
Right.
Going back to our point, we're on a rabbit trail to the ancients.
Right. Yeah, and then allowing new things to disrupt.
The new old things.
Right.
It's like
The
Hidden
new
Figures.
old thing, yes.
It's like in Hidden Figures
Mhm.
when they're looking for the new math, and they're like, maybe it's not the new math, maybe it's the
It's
old math.
right.
So maybe in our progression, and this is where, concerning personal evolution, it's not a bad thing to come back to the old things.
Right.
Hey, everybody, that is a trailer alert right there, because we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff on personal evolution, minimalism in our surroundings within our homes, and minimalism in regards to that if I am living within my body, what does it mean for me to approach my body minimalistically?
Yeah.
Concerning intake, concerning adornment, which is a fancy word for the clothes you wear. So,
Yeah, because I was just thinking, and I don't know, and then we can elaborate a bit, that's what I believe was part of a mark of the Reformation, is that Luther wanted to go back to, right, some of the more ancient than versus like the church at the time. So he's like, let's actually get back to the basics. And I was trying to, there's a Latin term that's used, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but yeah, so I think that that's a good thing. You know, like, is there something of the old, you know, to be able to bring in that may be just new to you? And we've brought in a couple of ideas of old into the new. And where does that match with your already value system, I think is the word that was in the structure. The value system that's there, does it compete? Or is there something you can still say, hey, this can be added, you know, this can be built upon, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and while you continued to help people understand where we're going on Sunday, I did find that the hat that Jewish men wear is known as the Borsalino. It's the Cadillac of fedoras.
Oh.
Harrison Ford wore it in the various Indiana Jones movies, as did Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca.
Yeah.
And so did Ernest Hemingway and Winston Churchill. Most recently, celebrities from Johnny Depp to Rihanna and Madonna have sported it. Made in Alessandria, Italy since 1857. And the hat's quality and meticulousness is a 52-step handmade construction process. And it takes up to 8 weeks to make one hat. I'm telling you, dude, this hat is I'm gonna find one. Ben Craft is the largest real retailer of the Borsalino.
Huh. That's, yeah. I think that's
I don't know. Every time I try to Brooklyn's Choice hat and cap style since 1948. Huh. Interesting. Every time I try on a hat like that, I just don't pull it off. And I
just don't pull it off.
I really want to. I want to pull it off. Peaky Blinder caps are available too.
Oh yeah, those would be good.
Yeah. So, minimalism, Pegasus, and unicorns, minimalism, and how stillness from last week plays a part.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah, so it's something to look forward to, everybody.
Yeah, my apologies. No knock-knock jokes.
No knock-knock jokes. Yeah.
No jokes whatsoever.
No joke. No jokes.
Ain't no joke. Got anything else?
I don't.
All right, we're at the end of our wits, and seldom does that occur. Only when we struggle with decision fatigue. Go back to episode 5, and you'll see what that looks like. Pretty sure it starts out with decision fatigue. Me deciding what in the world, which topic to talk about. Spin that plate.
That's right. Decision fatigue is real, and it affects. So that is a view into Sunday's episode.
We're not going to blow your mind, but what's going to happen may.
Right.
Have a great Friday night. Have a great Saturday.
Right.
We'll talk to you on Sunday. See you later, everybody.
See you.